In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve a particular challenge when you're building models that are either using the pyramid in-memory database or going direct against a SQL source. For those of you that have worked with multi-dimensional databases through SSAS, you may have worked with the concept of an all member. The all member is just a convenient way for you to select the topmost attribute within a hierarchy such that the query itself will return all values. In pyramid in-memory databases or live SQL databases, you can certainly build out a hierarchy with as many levels as you want, but in order to use that hierarchy in a slicer such that you want to allow the user to multi-select, you will see that at the top level, in order to select all the values, you have to make sure everything gets checked, whether it's a multi-select drop-down, a tree control, or whatnot. For most of your hierarchies, selecting all of those values is not necessarily a big deal. However, in some cases, if you have a large number of values that need to be selected, it can in fact impact your query performance. If you look at the query that gets generated for a multi-select, you will see in the where clause that it is actually selecting every single member individually. And so you can imagine if you have a query that has 20 or more members at that top level, having them added to the where clause is really going to slow the query down. So what I'm going to show you is a trick for solving that problem, thereby speeding up your query. So what I've got is a copy of this database that I am working with, and what I want to do is I want to add an all level or an all member to my hierarchies. Now, in order to do this, you will have to decide which hierarchies you want to include this feature on. In my case, I'm actually going to do it for my product hierarchy. Essentially, all I need to do is add a calculated column, and in that calculated column, the value is going to be hard-coded to a specific text. In this case, it's going to be all products. And then I'm going to call this my total. And I'm just going to add that to my model. When I switch over to the data modeler, I'm going to go to the hierarchy, and what we'll see is we now have this new attribute called total. I'm going to edit my products hierarchy and add my total to that hierarchy, and we're going to put that all the way to the top. And let's go ahead and add that back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and process this. And what we'll see when we process this model is that if I were to build out that same report, in this case, I think it was my months and sales, and then I want to use that hierarchy as a filter. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose a multi-select tree control. And what we'll see is at the top level, we now have this thing called all products. So when I want the value to be the sum of everything in that attribute, I can just choose all products, and you'll see that it's essentially giving me the exact same result. But if you go look at the query that gets generated, you'll see in the where clause, it's just saying where product total equals all products. So therefore, it's basically ignoring the selection and giving me everything. So the beauty of this solution is it's simple to just add that column to whichever tables you want it. The downside, of course, is that if you want to have that feature applied to multiple attributes, the way that you would have to implement it right now would be to create hierarchies for each attribute you wanted to institute an all member. That's not difficult, but it's just some extra work that you end up needing to do, and that can be a little tedious in order to implement that everywhere. But just know that this solution works. It works really well, and it's going to give you some great performance when you're working in this environment. But it's not necessary for all cases. So just decide where you would like to implement that and make it happen. So hopefully you kind of get the concept. The idea being that I'm just going to create a calculated column with my all member, labeling it whatever I would like. And then when I go to use that attribute in my own reporting, I can take advantage of that member. And so, like in this case, what I'll do is I will throw in a bunch of metrics here. And what you'll see now is if I expand, I can see the all member total and the lower level totals pretty easily. So that's the trick. Hopefully you'll be able to do that in your own models and make good use of it. What I would recommend, if this is a feature that you really want to see, please submit a feature request on the community and ask that they add that feature automatically to every attribute. That would certainly be the better way, is for the development team to actually include this as a built-in feature. But for now, this will absolutely solve the problem and give you some great performance. Thanks for watching the video.